I had walked into the temple room at Soho Street and to see Radhalanda Nishwara, and I was going to do a class, I think an initiation actually. And I came in, I was trying to find my bearings. I couldn't, because the temple, there's a stairs here and there's stairs there, and came in, I'm kind of looking around, what am I supposed to do now? Where shall I sit? And somebody comes and puts some tissue in my pocket. Like, I had a cold, so I thought maybe that person had thought that I, had a cold. So that's a nice Indian gentleman. But it's unusual that somebody comes and puts some tissue in your pocket so you can blow your nose. Anyway, that person kind of just disappeared. I wanted to thank him for the tissue. So then I sat down and I thought, actually I should blow my nose. I won't be able to sing, and I put my hand in that stiff tissue, kind of plasticky tissue. And I thought, I'll do that later. And then, anyway, to make a long story short, the program went on. We had a nice kirtan, katha, initiation. I got back to my residence where I was staying, and I said, I'm not going to waste anything. I'll put that tissue next to my bedstand there, and when I, if I need it in the evening or at night, and it was 100 pounds. Hi, who comes up and puts 100 pounds in your pocket? It doesn't even know you. That must be a special person. So I said, who is that nice gentleman? Does anyone know him? They said, Maharaj, Mr. Agarwal, he's one of the benefactors of this temple, and he helps, Radhalanda Nishwara so much. I later heard the story. They have a little bit of a leela together about cooperating and, spreading the movement. And I said, oh, that's nice. I'd like to thank that man. I'd like to thank him. And then I got a phone call. A friend of Mr. Agarwal was wondering if you can come do a program at his house. I said, me? He doesn't even know me. He wants me to come to do a program. He said, he hosts the sannyasis all the time, different sannyasis. Don't be shy, don't be embarrassed. I said, okay, can we fit a few people in there? He said, where do you see his house? He can fit a whole battalion of devotees in there. So, well, thank you so much, Mr. Agarwal, for inviting me. And I loved our conversation upstairs, and I love your deities. Such beautiful deities. They have a little elevator, and Mataji had invited me to see the deities, but the house with all the mirrors, I was thinking of what's what, and there's a little button she was going to push to take me to see the deities. So she pushes the button, I'm trying to look in the deity room, and it turned out to be the elevator. Where are we going? He went upstairs, and then I had darshan, most beautiful Radha Krishna. I know the shops very well in Jaipur because I've ordered deities, throughout the last 50 years for different temples. So I know there's different styles of carvings of Radha and Krishna in the different shops where they do that work. You give an idea what you like, and then they make the order. But there's one special shop that makes these deities, very refined, very sweet. So I thought I saw that, I know that shop, very nice. What are their names? Radha Gopinath. So I had darshan of Radha Gopinath. And so I'm very happy to be here. We'll continue chanting. Kali Kali Nam Rup Krishna Avatar. Kaviraj Goswami says in Chaitanya Charitamrita that the name of Krishna is the avatar for this age. Of course, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is technically the Yuga avatar, but the holy name is also non-different than Krishna. Namad Chintamani Krishna's Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha. So Kaviraj Goswami says, Kali Kali Nam Rup Krishna Avatar. This is the Lord for this age. And when the Lord comes in any incarnation, what does he do? What does an incarnation do? Ete chamsa kalo pumsha krishnashtu bhagavan swayam. Bhagavatam says the incarnations of the Lord are as many as the waves on the ocean. But specifically, what do these avatars who come from Avatari Krishna do when they come? Krishna explains in Bhagavad Gita, Paritranaya sadhanam vinashaya daduskritam. Each avatar comes for the purpose of delivering his devotees back to Goloka, subduing the miscreants, and reestablishing religious principles. So one way we can develop an appreciation for the holy name is in this context, to understand that the holy name is non-different than any of the Das avatars or any of the other avatars, with a very serious mission to find devotees, deliver them back to Godhead, curb the miscreants and their sinful activities, and spread dharma, spread the knowledge of Krishna consciousness all over the world. And that is the business of the holy name. So when we chant, we should think like that. That Krishna has very kindly appeared in this particular form as his holy name. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. And each of the incarnations, it's mentioned, no one can pretend to be an incarnation, because where the incarnations appear, who their parents will be, what their lifespan will be, what they will do, that's all there in the Puranas, the Itihasas. It's all there. They specific place, time, they go this far. This incarnation, he appeared technically 500 years ago with the appearance of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He started this movement of chanting Hare Krishna everywhere. This incarnation is unbelievable. He can appear before you in 1 second. You just chant Hare Krishna. I heard Prabhupada say one time in Rome, when you chant Hare Krishna, Krishna's dancing on the tip of your tongue. So this is what we do. This is our main activity. I mentioned an initiation ceremony the other day that Prabhupada was giving an initiation. I believe it was in New York. And one of my god sisters, she was a young girl, maybe 17 or 18, very shy. Prabhupada said, so what are the regulatory principles you will follow for the rest of your life? And how many rounds of japa will you chant every day? So she repeated the rules and regulations. Then she said very shyly, Srila Prabhupada, I promise to chant a minimum of 16 rounds every day. Prabhupada became very bold. He leaned over and said, why only a minimum? Why not more? So she ended up chanting 25 rounds every day. Yeah. And in her old age, she's chanting 64. Wow. Prabhupada inspired her like that. And Prabhupada also said, if you've got time, chant Hare Krishna, because this is the simple process of becoming Krishna conscious. One time, Prabhupada was giving darshan to some guests. The temple had invited us artists and poets and politicians and priests to come to hear from Srila Prabhupada. So I remember one priest came, and he sat down, and he was not interested at all. I think he was sent by the church because nobody else wanted to go. They didn't want to be impolite, so he came and he sat like a stone in front of Prabhupada. Prabhupada, explained a little philosophy, and he said, do you understand? But the pure devotee is very compassionate. He's the embodiment of compassion. And Prabhupada was always thinking of new and novel ways to get people to take up Krishna consciousness, at least have some influence like that. So the priest sitting there very stone-faced. So Prabhupada took a harmonium, was just nearby. He took the harmonium and pulled it over. And alone, there was no kartals, mridangas present at that time, Prabhupada just started singing the most beautiful melody of the Hare Krishna mantra. Prabhupada went on for like 30 or 40 minutes. He was just like in samadhi, chanting. And the priest was just like, what's going on here? Devotees were in ecstasy. And the priest was like, So then Prabhupada stopped, put the harmonium to the side, and he looked at the priest. He said, this is what we do. So the priest left with the impression, this is our main activity. And if we can't induce people to chant Hare Krishna, although it's so simple, at least we can leave them with prasadam. This movement is capable of touching the hearts of anyone and everyone without exception. I've experienced that in my many years of Sankirtan. People who would never come forward, never visit a temple, but you greet them, and you make friends with them, you give them a little prasad. But it's very rare that someone would not be receptive because Krishna's all attractive. And I remember one time we invited Prabhupada to Paris, and we really went out of our way to find all types of people to come and see. Prabhupada actually said, I'm sitting here and this is a very intellectual country. Where are all the intellectuals? It's not you boys and girls. You just ask the basic questions. Bring me some French philosophers, some French priests, some Franciscan monks. So we went out and I remember I brought back one priest. Unfortunately, he was like, with all due respect, he was like the other priests. He didn't show much interest. So Prabhupada is preaching to him, and there's no question. And so Prabhupada then he says, so part of our process is Bhagavat Prasadam, very tasty food offered to God. So before you go, our dear priest, could you take a little prasad? So in order to get out of there, because the priest wanted to get away, he didn't want to hear Prabhupada's preaching, which is far superior, he said, all right, I'll take little. So the only prasadam that was there was this big bowl of gulab jamans. And my godsister Kanti, she was the best at making gulab jamans, but she always made them that big. It would take 2 or 3 bites to finish the gulab jamun. So and they're full of juice. You could squeeze like a sponge. You could fill half a cup of a glass cup with the juice from one gulab jamun. I'm just getting you ready for the story. So Prabhupada said, so we have our prasad here. You can take one. The priest went. He looked at these, they're floating, you know. They're almost like they're moving or something, kind of floating around. His eyes got really big. He said, a spoon? And Prabhupada said, no, we eat with our hands. And this priest was really pucka. He had nicely beautiful gray beard, you know, like this, and long hair. He was elderly, but very distinguished person. Beautiful white robes. He had a kind of a beige piece coming down like this. Very different signs, you know, of Christian faith and everything. So he was sitting very, make sure he didn't get anything wrinkled or dirty or anything, something like that. And Prabhupada said, so, spoon, we eat with our hands. So then he was in this dilemma. Because, you know, I could see his hands were very manicured and he's proper, like a brahmana, actually. One time Prabhupada told us in Paris that a brahmana is so clean that after drinking water, he washes his hands. I understood what Brahminical life was at that point. A Brahmin is so clean that after drinking water, he washes his hands. A high standard, Brahminical life. Anyway, the priest, he said, Prabhupada said, take. Right, a deep voice. So the priest, he put his hand like that, and then Prabhupada tipped his hand and it went in the juice. Hand like up to here. Prabhupada said, prasad. So the priest, he took it out, and then, because he was nervous, he went like this, and I saw it all drip down his beard and onto his robe. So he didn't notice at that time, so he's holding it. And he said, how should I? Prabhupada said, generally we eat with one bite. Which is true. You know, usually the gulabs are like that. They call them we used to call them in the 1960s ISKCON bullets. ISKCON bullets. Because, a bullet does damage. So this bullet does damage to your false ego. That's so sweet. I'd like to be a devotee. I remember Brahmananda, who actually made me a devotee along with Vishnujan Maharaj. He told me that one time they were at 26 2nd Avenue, and devotees, it was austere, Krishna consciousness in those days, and there wasn't much money, there wasn't much facility, but they had a little storefront. How many of you have been to that storefront, 26 2nd Avenue? You know what I mean. About 20 devotees living there. So some devotees started leaving the movement. This was very early, leaving the movement. So Prabhupada told Brahmananda, you make one big batch of gulab jamans and lots of syrup, and you put it in a big bucket next to the exit, which is the same entrance. This is one way to come into 26 2nd Ave. And you put a little bit off the ground, so when someone walks by, they can see and they can smell. So everyone was wondering, why put a big barrel of gulab jamans at the exit to the temple? What would happen was, to make a long story short, devotees would bloop. This is the word we used to use. I don't know if you even use it anymore. Bloop means you go back into the ocean of material existence. Prabhupada coined that phrase. Prabhupada coined many phrases with his, cute English and just the way he did things. And we asked him one time, Prabhupada, why do you say, when someone leaves the movement, why do you say bloop? So Prabhupada said, like you throw a rock back into the ocean, what sound does it make? Bloop. He was so expert at touching our hearts. Bloop. So what happened was, nobody blooped. Because Prabhupada was so expert. We were discussing upstairs. Entrepreneur. Prabhupada knew how to work the material energy to our benefit, so we would become devotees. I'm always saying also that as we preach, as the years go on, we have to innovate according to time, place, and circumstance to interest people. What is good now may not actually work later on, so devotees have, like Prabhupada said, tax your brains how to spread this movement. We have to be innovative. So Prabhupada's innovation was that the devotee who was bloop, he would pack his bags, usually at nighttime they would bloop, and he would go to the door and the aroma of hot gulab jamun would catch his nose. And because, they were always hungry in those days, young men and so forth, there wasn't much money for big feasts, they'd walk by the barrel of gulab jamuns and, okay. Now, there's a potato chip in America, and the motto on the bag of the potato chips, the brand is, bet you can't eat one. You catch that? It's a pun. Yeah. Bet you can't eat one. Doesn't mean you can't eat one, but bet you can't eat one means you're going to eat two. Right. So what happened, Brahmananda told me that even himself, he tried to bloop one time. But he walked past the barrel, and he ate half the barrel. Seriously. When I first met the sannyasis on the mall of the Detroit Michigan University, I told Vishnujan Maharaj, I said, can you guys stay with me for a couple of days? I was with my former wife. Just, I don't know, this is really wonderful that what you're doing. You're singing and you're dancing and you're a great philosopher, Maharaj. I said to him, I want to be just like you. So can you spend some time with me? My wife said, oh yes, you should be just like him. She's a good soul. And so he asked Brahmananda and Gargamuni and Subal, this nice young couple, they want association. So this young boy, Brian, he wants to know if we can stay at his apartment for 3 or 4 days. So Brahmananda said, on one condition, there's really good prasadam. They can provide prasadam. So I said, what's prasadam? And Vishnu Maharaj said, it's food that's vegetarian food cooked for the pleasure of Krishna. Sounds good to me. So then we're walking and Brahmananda goes to my side, give me your paycheck. Because he saw I just received a paycheck. I was a gardener, $7 a month. He said, I said, for what? Prasadam. I said, oh, yeah, okay. I said, you know, you spend $50, $60. So he cashed it. He went in the big store, and they all came out with a huge cart of goods, you know, vegetables, fruits, grains. I said, where's the change? He gave me 50 cents. So they stayed for 3 days with us. And I told Vishnu John, because I was doing some kind of meditation, I don't know. I told Vishnu John Maharaj, I said, look, you guys, I'm a yogi too. He said, you don't look like a yogi with your long hair and your beard and your blue jeans. I know I'm a yogi. I get up really early, 8:30 every morning. I said, I'll wake you guys up and you can come and do some meditation. So he said, you're in for a big surprise tomorrow morning. I said, okay, thank you. Meaning I thought I could train them how to meditate. So at 3:30 in the morning, the door opens and this big stick goes on my head. It's called a danda, sannyasi danda. They all had dandas. They came in all four and boom, 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 boom. Get up, it's time for real meditation. Samsaradava nalalita loka. We sang the Guru Vastakam prayers. I was like mesmerized. Then we had Guru Puja to Srila Prabhupada. Then Vishnu John Maharaj, oh, the class he gave, just melted my heart. And then we had a breakfast, breakfast was more like a big lunch. And then we had a big lunch, and then we had an even bigger dinner. And that's what it took to make me a devotee. 4 ISKCON sannyasis, 3 meals a day, lots of kirtan for 5 days. That's how I made it. And then they left. One night, they disappeared, because they were in the apartment next to us. They disappeared. And I had a big argument that day before with Vishnu John Maharaj, because he had a silver spoon. I said, hey, my understanding of a monk is you don't have opulence. He said, no, you don't understand. I said, I understand. You've got a silver spoon. He said, you don't understand. You can't understand with logic and reasoning. Something beyond you. I said, look, I got good grades in college. He said, you're not going to understand. He said, this spoon was used by Kartamashi. Kartamashi means the boss. And that's a deity that someone had given Prabhupada, a deity of just Krishna, standing, playing his Venu, his flute, Turibanga Sundara, the Vajjayanti garland, 5 types of flowers down to the ankles. Very beautiful deity. You see him in the old pictures sometime. And he was served with this silver spoon for his offerings. So out of appreciation for Vishnu John Maharaj, out of love, Prabhupada took that spoon and gave it to Vishnu John Maharaj. That's something from the Guru. And Prabhupada gave it to him with such a loving sentiment. He cherished that. I didn't understand that. One time Prabhupada gave me his dhoti and appreciate for some menial service I'd done. He said, Indradyumna, a gift from a Vaishnava is a very special thing. Now, this was a saffron dhoti, and I was a grihastha at the time. I used to wear it all the time. You know, Guru Kripa, Yashodananda, Chutananda, they come up to me, you're a grihastha, you can't wear saffron. I said, you try to take it off me. They knew I was in the Marine Corps before I joined. I was a soldier. America's best fighting unit. Never took it off. I wore it till it became threadbare, and I gave it to a Prabhupada museum. Anyway, Maharaj gave me this, Prabhupada gave him this silver spoon. I said, you know, I can't accept you as a real monk. You've given me so much, I understand, but it's just this thing about the spoon. And I was going to talk to him about it the next morning, and but they left. We woke up at 3:30. And I said, where are the Swamis? And we looked outside their door, and the shoes were gone. We looked inside, they were gone. I cried like a baby. Sadhu Sanga, Sarva Shrishtakoi, Leva Matr Sadhu Sanga, Sarva Siddhi Hoy. There's something about association with devotees. You know as well as I do. Bhaktivinoda Thakur said, Krishna consciousness is something that you imbibe from another devotee. You imbibe that by Sangha association. We miss them so much. We cried the whole day. They never told us there was a temple. There wasn't time. We were busy with so many other things. Eventually, I found a temple in Detroit. But the next day, I was looking around the house, and I noticed on our table, they left a picture of a Prabhupada. They left a picture of Krishna. And Vishnu John left the silver spoon. And I looked at that spoon, and I grabbed and I put it to my heart. I said, Maharaj, I understand the hard way now. You've given me a gift out of love. And I cherish that. I had to give it away when I took sannyas. Part of the deal with my wife is that she kept the silver spoon. And I happily gave it to her. But these gifts are like that. So anyway, here's the priest with this dripping, this is Prabhupada. There's 6 ways that we exchange love. We exchange gifts, we exchange realizations, we exchange prasadam. Someone cooks, someone accepts. This is Upadeshamrita. So Prabhupada's gift is this prasad. So the priest holding this monstrosity, gulab jamun, and it's dripping onto his beard and his clothes. And he says, what do I do now? Prabhupada said, 1 bite. At least he was polite enough to follow that instruction of Prabhupada. He had a big mouth. He was a big man. He opened his mouth and he started to put it in, but he couldn't get it out. So Prabhupada went. So the priest went. He's like a chipmunk. And the juice was coming out of his ears. No. It started to flow like this. So he's trying to chew it, but it was really, when it's kind of spurting out and going like. Finally he swallows it and he looks down at his beard, soaked in juice, like this. But there was immediate purification. For the first time that evening, he looked, I'll never forget, he looked at Prabhupada and he went, those monks don't eat sugar. They eat apples and soup and bread. He probably hadn't had sugar in 20 years. He went, ding! You're not supposed to photograph that. I actually had wished that I had a camera at that moment, This is the miracle of Krishna consciousness. He got that mercy. So we are recipients of unlimited mercy. One time, Prabhupada's father told little Abai, our Prabhupada, that the Purusha Shukta, the Lord who's the universal form, he has so many arms and so many hands. He said, if he wants to give you mercy, how much your 2 little hands can hold. So we have so much mercy, we can hardly utilize it all. So I've always been taught in Krishna consciousness, actually my parents taught me very well, that if whatever you get, you should share it. I had a younger brother and a younger sister who I used to terrorize, Annie Banana. But I would get something, and I'd come home. My father said, call your brother and sister. Dad, not again. Split it 3 ways. And whenever it was any of our birthdays, the person whose birthday it was would cut the cake in 3 parts. First I gave it to my sister, Annie Banana. Then I would give it to my brother, and I had a third. So I was trained like this, that whatever I got, I would share. So when I liked that idea. It grows on you. I had good parents. They were cultured people. So when I came to Krishna consciousness, I was very happy to hear that this is a movement of sharing. And if you don't share what you have will dry up. And what do we have to share? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare. And Prabhupada told me the same thing. When you hear it from the spiritual masters, it's very special. And Prabhupada told me to go to France. I was 19 years old. I didn't speak a word of French. And Prabhupada selected me and one other boy, said, there's nothing happening in France. You go to France and you open a temple. Now, I didn't know anything about management or finances or anything. I've been a devotee 8 months. You go to France. I said, Prabhupada, I don't speak French. It does not matter. My English is not so good. So I was very nervous, and Prabhupada called me into his office in 7 Bury Place. This is why London is so dear to me, because so many memories of Prabhupada. And he called me into his room and he sat me down. He said, so, you go on the street and you preach. I said, in French? He said, the French are intellectuals. They will know some English. I said, some English? And he said, you make devotees, then you find translator, then you find they can translate my books, then you collect some donations and you publish books. I was like, so Prabhupada could see that I was nervous. So he leaned over the desk. He said, Indradyumna, you preach boldly and you have faith in the holy names. So I smiled. I said, that's what my dad said I should share Krishna consciousness. It resonated with me. So I took that as my, what do they call that, a mission statement. You have a mission statement in life. Preach boldly and have faith in the holy names. I'm not inked. Is that what you call it, inked? I don't have tattoos, but that is inscribed within my heart. To preach boldly and have faith in it. That's why I took sannyas, because it facilitated that instruction. And my former wife gave her blessings for that. And I've made that my mission statement. And I think that was Prabhupada's mood of sharing. We don't know who Prabhupada is in the spiritual world. It's forbidden to speculate what is the siddhadeha of the guru in the spiritual world, because we relate to our spiritual master as our master, our teacher, our guide. And by following his instructions here, he will bless us to follow him there in the spiritual world. So I took that as my mission statement, and happily so. And but I knew that I needed more prasadam to do that. So one time, Prabhupada came to our temple in Paris, and we were told that the top book distributor would get to wash Prabhupada's feet when he came to the temple. Now, I'd heard from the sannyasis that 3 things are very favorable for spiritual advancement: the dust of the feet of a pure devotee, the water that has washed his feet, and the remnants of food on his plate. I had made that calculation. So I said, wow, I'm going to win that marathon. And I didn't speak any French. Bonjour, madame, bonjour, monsieur. Je suis un moine, je reviens de l'Inde. Nous avons un bon livre ici. Please give money. But I was young, I was American, I'd kind of play on that, and they, okay, kid, here, take some money. So we had a 1-month marathon, and I went out at 4 o'clock every morning in the metro, the underground, you call it underground here? Mm-hmm. And I'd stay till 9 o'clock at night for 1 month. I didn't see the light of day for 1 month. I'd sleep on the benches in the metro, and somehow or other, this American kid beat all those French, the Français. They spoke with such a accent so nice. Bonjour, s'il vous plaît. I beat him. And my American friend, he came in number 2. So we got to the privilege, the honor, I can't even, my hands are still shaking now, to bathe Prabhupada's feet. I thought, I'm going to get a couple drops. So we did more Sankirtan. We bought a beautiful silver bowl, In those days, these were great opulence of silver bowl and a silver pitcher. And I went to the Indian stores. I got rose water and Kera water. And I wouldn't let anyone else do it. I put the water in there. I warmed it up. And I put the roses there, and I put the thing, there's like some saffron in there, and the pitcher, and we were all excited. And Prabhupada, he arrived at the airport, and they brought him to the temple, and he came in the temple room. He sat down on the Vyasasan. Temple president gave me a wink. We sat down, but we had a plan. It's called greedy for Krishna consciousness. Beg, borrow, or steal, but get the mercy of the holy name. So we had a plan, me and my friend. Prabhupada sat down, and I took his soft pink lotus feet and placed them in the silver bowl, and we started pouring the water. And the kirtans were, Shri Guru Charana Padma. Keep singing. And then when we dried Prabhupada's feet with a soft cloth, and we took that bowl and we'd stolen the key to the president's office. We'd made a copy of it, and we threw away the original. Just so we wouldn't get caught later on. Me and Bhagarva, we picked up that huge bowl of Charnamrit, and we ran upstairs to the first floor with about 20 brahmacharis following us. I opened the door. We ran in, slammed the door, locked it, and I heard this boom, 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 boom as all the brahmacharis hit the door trying to get in. We had 2 silver cups, and may I serve you? Yes, and I pour in his silver cup. And then cheers, ding. And we drank that Charnamrita. And I looked like 9 months. I couldn't take another drop. So did Bhagarva. And anyway, this is a prasadam class. So I'm just trying to get you hungry for the piece later. So then when we finished it, there was 1 drop left. So I went like that. We opened the door. All the brahmacharis fill in. Where's the nectar? What nectar? The Charnamrit. Bhagarva, have you seen the Charnamrit? No. So like that, we got more prasadam. So beg, borrow, or steal. I don't recommend you go into the deity kitchen at night and steal the Mahaprasadam, but we should be eager for this. For kirtan, katha, and prasadam. Prabhupada told us one time, he was present for his Vyasa Puja with us. Can't remember where it was. And he said that on this appearance day of the spiritual master, the more you eat, the more you advance. So whenever Prabhupada's appearance day would come, we would stuff ours like this, that we'd walk like ducks afterward. So it's so simple. Who would not take up this process of Krishna consciousness if they're all the tapas and the gyan and the this and that? This is the process. Harinam, Harinam, Harinam eva kevalam. Kalo nasteva, 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 gatiranyatha. Chant, chant, chant. So with that wisdom, we'll do what we do. We've had a little katha, and we're going to chant. And I saw actually, I probably shouldn't have looked, but I saw what Radha Gopinath are eating. It was a fantastic plate with so many preparations on it. So it's been offered, we can think about it now. So we have katha, we'll have kirtan, and then we'll have prasad, all by the grace of this wonderful family. Mr. Argo on the screen. Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Radha Srivasadi Bhakta Shivasari Go Bhakta Vinda. Shivasari Go Bhaktivinda. Shivasari Go Bhaktivinda. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. dance, chant dance, chant dance. Kirtan! Paramahansa, Paribhajikacharya, Oshtatara Satasri Simad, His Divine Grace ISKCON Founder Acharya, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Ramakrishna Paramahansa, Paribhajikacharya, Oshtatara Satasri Simad, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur Maharaj, Srila Prabhupada Ki. Kori Vaishnava Vrinda Ki, Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki, Ramsa Gaho Shri Krishna Chaitanya, Prabhu Nityananda, Sri Advaita Gadadhar, Srivasadi Ho Bhaktinda Ki, Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath, Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan Ki, Shri Brajabhumi Shri Vrindavan Dham Ki, Navadvip Mayapur Dham Ki, Ganga Yamuna Mai Ki, Bhakti Devi Ki, Tulsi Maharani Ki, ISKCON DVD Founder Acharya, Save the Whole World Ki, Shri Shri Radha Landaneshwara Ki, Gaur Premanande, Gaur Premanande, Gaur Premanande, Srila Prabhupada Ki, World on ISKCON Ki, back home, back to Godhead Ki, take all the fallen conditioned souls with us one by one Ki, go to Premanande. Glory to the assembled devotees, glory to the assembled devotees, glory to the assembled devotees, glories, glories, glories to Guru and Gaurango.
His Holiness Indradyumna Swami Maharaj Ki!
It's my pleasure to have Indradyumna Maharaj to our place. It was so busy. Initiation day, all the sadhus are here, and when somebody has to do kripa, that's what happened. And he came with all of you. I know it's not very easy in London to come. All of you must be staying so many places. Train strikes are there. Still, all of you have make it. Me and my wife, Kiran. Really, from bottom of my heart, very grateful to all of you that you have come to our place. And Sadhu Charan, wherever it goes, that's what happened. I've been very greedy, and I always find that I don't have intelligence, but because sadhus come and they do mercy to us, so this is what happened. For all of you Matajis, I have one of my friend has come from Nupur and Kushal. They are the son of Dr. Desai, through whom I have come to Krishna consciousness. They are here today. So very, very nice of them. I have Robert, I have my temple president. What a person he is, such a simple man. He always, I'm 26 years, I always felt very comfortable. But Radha Landaneshwar, today as we feel, we never felt like this. It's a Krishna's mercy that we have somebody like him. We all talking, but I thought I will mention about two things. One is our temple president, and all of us, we are looking. Soho temple was Radha Landaneshwar, very close to Prabhupada, because he wanted international. And if you come to Sunday sometime, you see all religion, all kind of people come in. But that's what Prabhupada always wanted. I've seen people from Turkey, people from Iran, people from Pakistan, people from America, anywhere, Europe, everybody comes in because it's in the center. So we have been contemplating, we need all of your good wishes and blessing. My temple president want to make a new temple. And his vision is that on the top floor, our sannyasis, our sadhus comes, they can stay there. So it should be a very nice guest house for them on the top. He's looking for a big hall which can be there for the reading. Cultural center. We don't want to say as a religious center, because that's what my temple president feel, that it should be more of a cultural center where all religions, everybody is invited. They can read book, they can see movie, they can have a satsang. Another floor, temple room he want to create. He want to create one of the best boutique, which is a Krishna's boutique in that place. He's looking, Govinda restaurant should be one of the most unusual, one of the best restaurant today. After he has come in, he will be very, he never will allow me to say, on his own, almost double the income in the temple in this worst time. So something is what he has done. So we are looking, we want to take this 2 floor down and to have a very glass from the street. People can have a darshan of Radha Krishna because people are very busy. So they can have the darshan. So this is what, and I need your blessing. It can happen like this, or it may not happen ever. So we definitely looking your blessing, Maharaj. I thought every occasion has to have something to hold on. So I thought this occasion should dedicate to this temple, where we want to have one floor. Our temple president wants only for the Matajis, how they can live comfortable, and the one floor for the guest house, how the lot of guests comes, and we can create. It should be very digital, technology driven, and should be very, very practical. So this is what vision is. It can only happen with the blessing. So this is one thing I thought. I'm very greedy. I never do anything unless I get something. The other thing is that our Rath Yatra is coming. London Rath Yatra is very significant. Very, very significant. We are looking how this time, after so much of pandemic, so much has happened, it goes in the street of Piccadilly, main street, and I have seen the way devotion in the people has welcomed this Rath Yatra. How can we more glorify? And we are going to talk to our Nitesh. How can we work out where the kirtan should be amazing this time? Total digital, we should plan it very well prasadam. How do we discipline, how do we go very disciplined manner from the Hyde Park to the Trafalgar Square. This should be memory. So this is also we are working, and we need all your blessing. So thank you very much. I know that all of you must be very hungry. So we have simple food made for Krishna, and we'll all have prasadam. So thank you very much. Thank you.
Expand the temple, K. Big room for the Matajis, K. Big room for the guests, K. Open this restaurant, unlimited, K.
When it happened, our temple president came and he says, during the construction, where the deity will go, where the Radha will go, my wife suddenly jumped and said, Radha will come to our house. In the time, so I don't know how he has said. I'm very scared, but it has come. So we always say we dream and Krishna fulfill our dream. So thank you very, very much. Hare Krishna. Shri Bhagavat Prasadam Ki, Mangal Arti Ki, Ki, Ki.